The containment chamber's bioluminescent walls pulsed with an eerie blue glow as Dr. Marcus Chen was shoved through the force field barrier. His magnetic restraints deactivated with a sharp click, leaving him free but trapped within the transparent aluminum walls of what the HFY had mockingly called his final accommodation. The alien warden's translator crackled through the chamber's speakers. Human specimen 7749. You have been deemed incompatible with standard containment protocols. The ruling council has decided you will share quarters with our previous acquisitions from your planetary system. Marcus slowly stood, his joints aching from the neural dampeners they'd used during transport. The chamber was vast, easily 50 meters in diameter and 30 meters high. Artificial gravity held him firmly to the metallic floor, but something else held his attention far more completely. Three massive forms stirred in the shadows at the far end of the chamber. The creatures were magnificent and terrible. Each stood nearly 4 meters tall at the shoulder, with elongated necks that added another 3 meters to their height. Scales the color of burnished copper reflected the chamber's bioluminescence, and membrane wings folded against muscular flanks. Their eyes intelligent, ancient, and very much aware, fixed upon the newcomer. Dragons. Actual dragons from the mountain ranges of Europa 7, one of humanity's outer colonies. Marcus had read the classified reports during his time as a xenobiologist for the Terran Defense Force. The HFY had been systematically harvesting apex predators from human-colonized worlds for their gladiatorial combat systems. These dragons weren't mythological creatures. They were the evolutionary pinnacle of Europa 7's high-gravity environment, possessed of primitive intelligence and capable of limited electromagnetic manipulation through specialized organs in their skulls. The largest dragon, its scales scarred from countless battles, approached with deliberate steps. Marcus remained perfectly still, his breathing controlled, his posture non-threatening. The creature's nostril slits flared as it analyzed his scent, its head lowering until they were nearly face to face. "Easy there, magnificent," Marcus whispered, his voice carrying the practiced calm of someone who had spent years studying dangerous wildlife. "I'm not your enemy." The dragon's eyes, a startling amber color, studied him with unmistakable intelligence. Marcus slowly extended his hand, palm up, a gesture of submission that translated across species barriers. The creature's massive head tilted, and for a moment, Marcus saw something flicker in those ancient eyes. Recognition. Not of him specifically, but of what he represented. Over the following days, Marcus began to understand the cruel genius of the HFY's punishment. The dragons were dying, not from injury or disease, but from despair. These were apex predators from a world where they ruled undisputed, now reduced to entertainment for alien spectators. The fights they were forced into weren't about survival. They were about breaking their spirits entirely. But Marcus was different. He wasn't a predator in the physical sense, though he was something far more dangerous. He was a problem solver, an apex survivor, and most critically, he was human. On the fourth day, Marcus made his move. While the dragons rested, he began systematically examining every inch of their shared prison. His fingers traced the walls, feeling for variations in temperature and density. His enhanced military implants, which the aliens had failed to detect due to their biomimetic design, began analyzing the electromagnetic signatures of the containment systems. The dragons watched with growing interest as Marcus worked. They had observed other prey species in these chambers. They had seen fear, desperation, resignation. They had never seen methodical, patient intelligence combined with absolute refusal to accept defeat. By the seventh day, Marcus had identified 17 separate vulnerabilities in their containment system. The HFY had built their prison to contain physically powerful creatures that relied on brute force. They hadn't accounted for a species that had evolved not through size or strength, but through adaptability and the terrifying ability to see patterns where others saw only chaos. The breakthrough came when Marcus realized the dragon's electromagnetic organs weren't being dampened, only redirected through the chamber's walls to prevent escape. But redirection meant the energy was still accessible, just channeled differently. "I need you to trust me," Marcus said to the scarred Alpha, his hand resting on the creature's massive forearm. "We're going to hurt them. We're going to hurt them badly." The dragon's rumbling response needed no translation. Marcus's plan was elegant in its simplicity. Using hand signals and patience, he taught the dragons to focus their electromagnetic pulses in precise patterns. Not to escape that would trigger immediate security responses, but to create a specific resonance frequency in the chamber's bioluminescent power grid. The aliens had made a critical error. They assumed intelligence was limited by biology, that a species without advanced technology was inherently primitive. They had never encountered humans as species that had survived ice ages, predators, and their own worst impulses, not through individual power, but through cooperation and the terrifying ability to turn any environment into a weapon. On the 10th day, when the arena gates opened for their scheduled combat display, the Ketheri guards found an empty chamber. The dragons and their human companion had done something unprecedented. They had convinced the facility's automated systems that a massive structural failure was imminent, triggering the emergency evacuation protocols. In the chaos that followed, 3 dragons and 1 seemingly insignificant human had disappeared into the ventilation systems. Security recordings later showed Dr. Marcus Chen's face in the moments before the escape, calm, focused, and wearing the cold smile of a predator who had just reminded the universe why his species had conquered a dozen star systems despite starting with nothing but stone tools and the refusal to quit. The Ketheri had captured what they thought was just another primitive specimen. They had forgotten that humans were the apex predators of problem solving, and that the most dangerous monsters often came in unassuming packages. In the depths of the facility, where emergency lighting cast long shadows, 3 dragons followed their human pack leader toward the hangar bays. They had found something they thought was extinct in the universe, a creature more ruthless than themselves, but one that chose cooperation over domination. The Ketheri were about to learn a very hard lesson about the difference between civilization and domestication, and Dr. Marcus Chen was going to enjoy teaching it to them.